soft, falling all around, and here we are, yeah. Your smile, my eyes, it's a free exchange. Your kiss, my laugh, a free exchange. Your glance and my soul, it's a free exchange. As we step by step, a free exchange. It's a free exchange. Your kiss and my love, it's a free exchange. Your glance deep down in my soul, free exchange.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Front Room Sessions here at the Marcus Garvey House in North Minneapolis, home to Insight News. I am your host for the day, Harry Colbert Jr., Managing Editor of Insight News, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and those who will tune in later. You can catch these conversations often on our Facebook page, the Insight News Facebook page, as well as Al McFarlane's Facebook page. Today we're going to be talking about the Hawthorne Neighborhood Council. The Hawthorne neighborhood is one of the many neighborhoods here in North Minneapolis, many wonderful neighborhoods here in North Minneapolis. And we're going to get some insights on what's going on in Hawthorne, and you guys have some initiatives coming up. So first, let me introduce my guest. We have Diana Hawkins, who is the Executive Director of the Hawthorne Neighborhood Council, and also Andrew Bornhoff, who is the Housing Administrator for the Hawthorne Neighborhood Council. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So for the people out there who are not familiar with Hawthorne, please give them kind of 30,000 feet view of what the Hawthorne Neighborhood Council is?
I'm gonna let Andrew answer that question.
Hawthorne Neighborhood Council, well, I guess we'll start off with where Hawthorne is. A lot of people, believe it or not, still don't know that. We are bordered by Broadway on the south and Lowry on the north and Emerson on the west, and then actually the Mississippi River on the east. So a lot of people think we stop at I-94, but actually we go all the way to the river. So a lot of that business there, we actually have a lot of supporters in our neighborhood that come from that side. Hawthorne is a diverse group of individuals. We have an incredibly diverse community that we're very passionate about. And we focus on a tremendous number of initiatives: crime and safety, housing, health and well-being has been one we've been focusing on strongly for the last, half decade now?
About 5 years.
5 years, yeah. So, and these are all things that we look at our community and say, what does our community need most? And what can we do to affect our community in a positive way? And it's just a great group of people, and we love seeing community members come out and work with us and work for their community.
So if someone is in the community and wants to come out, when do you guys meet? Do you have various like breakout councils or things of that nature, breakout committees?
Well, we have our regular board meeting. Monthly board meeting is the second Thursday of every month at 6:45 at Farview Park. You can call the office at 612-529-6033. We have a housing committee that meets the third Monday at Farview Park at 7 o'clock.
And these are all PMs.
Yep,
Yep.
these are our PMs. Our community and communication meets the third Wednesday at the Hawthorne office at 7 o'clock. And recently, our crime and safety and our housing have kind of been meeting jointly. So those are the committees that we have that if you're interested, you can get on the committee and come out and see what we're about.
And the reason I stress PM is because you all are known for breakfast as well.
Our breakfast, though, our breakfast is kind of our huddle. And I'm happy to say, as one of the co-founders of the huddle, that in January, we will be around for 25 years.
Very nice, very nice.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are some of the key initiatives right now? I know you guys have something big coming up for the children in Hawthorne.
Well, right now, we have, I'll talk about the opiates a little bit before I talk about winter warmth, but we have a coalition, and it's called the Northside Neighborhood Coalition. And our coalition is geared at our youth, and it's geared at our men, and it's geared at awareness. And one reason I say that is because we focus on underage drinking, we focus on the awareness about marijuana, we focus on the opiates, we focus on underage smoking. And so all of those are hitting our kids right now in school. The newest thing that we're focusing on is vaping. Vaping is a big problem. So there's about 30 plus people that meet once a month to gain insight and resources on how we can make our youth, our men, especially our men, aware of all of this crazy stuff that's going on with these drugs.
And that once a month meeting is usually at Lowry.
It's at the North Regional Library.
Yeah.
11 o'clock in the afternoon. We meet for an hour and a half. We have specific guest speakers come in to give us the education that we need to take back to either our workplace or different organizations that we're a part of
On Fridays.
on Fridays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now, so just to get the information out there, if someone wants to attend one of those meetings, how do they get in contact with you via the website or your email? Or?
Again, you can call the office at 612-529-6033, or you can email me, Diana Hawkins, at hncmpls.org, and that's the short version.
All right, sounds good. When we talk about the opioid crisis, I think oftentimes the conversation is geared toward a more suburban population. It's geared toward people who generally don't share a similar hue. It's not geared towards African Americans a lot of times. They don't bring that conversation. Why do you think that is? And two, what made it so important for you to say that, hey, this is something that we need to address?
Recently in Hawthorne, we saw a huge problem down at Merwin's around Cubs. Merwin's and Cubs are hot spots. And the sad part about it is you have the Salvation Army that sits right there. They feed families every day on a daily basis. That's a tragedy for us. I mean, we have people that are sitting there at the bus station stop that are shooting drugs. You got kids going into the Salvation Army to eat. We got to do something about that because that is a huge problem. The reason why I say our men is because we have men that come out of the system and they don't want to change their life, but then you have these kids and the kids is looking up to them and they're like, you know, wow, I want to be like my dad or I want to be like Uncle so-and-so, and you can't because they're getting high and here's these kids looking at it, and what happened? The kids end up getting hold of these drugs, you know, and boom, there you go.
Well, and something we focus on is trauma, right? So we talk about what is, nobody grows up saying, I want to be a drug addict, right? So what is causing them? What space are they filling? And for our community, it's a lot of historical trauma. What's interesting, to answer your question about the suburban issue, we actually got invited to a meeting that was downtown when Donald Trump's drug czar, as he's called, came to town to talk about the opioids crisis. And it was kind of an affirmation of something we already knew, where they really focused on rural communities, they focused on suburban communities, and they did not focus on our urban communities, our center, our people of color who are struggling with this in terms of capita more so than anyone else. And so, you know, I brought that back, and that again became a focus of ours of, well, we have to take care of our own. Like, clearly we are here to take care of our own. We're not going to get that help from others. And that's really become a big part of it as well.
Okay.
And the other piece to just add to that is we're seeing a lot of our babies drunk in school. They're going to school drunk. Why is that? How are they getting this liquor early in the morning? So that became a problem for us too.
Okay. So so you guys are working in conjunction with the Minneapolis Police.
We're working, yep, in Minneapolis Police, probation. I mean, there's a big group of us that everybody is at this meeting. So if you need some help, you need to get to one of these meetings.
Okay. And then that coalition, you said, is also working together around the winter warrant.
Yes, this year the coalition, the theme was, you know, having the police more involved with our residents since there's been so much trauma and the residents not trusting the police. Well, we thought it's time for the community to heal. So thanks to the police, you know, they really came through for us with regards to donations. Not only did the police come through, but the Bike Cop for Kids came through. And so on December the 7th, from noon to 3, we're going to be giving away coats, hats, mittens, gloves, scarves, right there at Farview Park. Santa Claus will be there. Q-Bear from KMOJ will be there going live. Hopefully we will have the lead testing so you can bring your child to get lead tested. My goal this year, last year we gave over
300.
300. My
over
goal
300.
this year is to give over 500 coats away. So I'm pleading with the audience right now. We're halfway there, but I need 500 coats by next Friday.
Okay. And are these new coats?
I need new coats with the tags on them.
Okay.
Okay. You can bring the coats to Hawthorne Neighborhood Council, 2944 Emerson Avenue North, or you can call us 612-529-6033, and we'll come and pick it up.
Are there any that are more in demand than others? I know a lot of times when people do these drives, of course, the babies are always looked at, but others.
Yeah, no, we really what we focus on, or what we need are boys ages like 14 to 18. You know, I think people forget that there are 18-year-olds out there bigger than other grown men, right? So those are the kind of items we need. They get forgotten. So we really ask people to focus on boys, and it's particularly older teenage boys.
Okay.
And can I ask something, Harry? You know, I know there's a ton of coat drives that are going on right now. There's even someone that is collecting hoodies. But I just want to say that when we started this 6 years ago, it was geared towards just our north side community.
Mm-hmm.
This has grown so that we are reaching people in Coon Rapids.
Wow.
St.
So
Paul.
that's St. Paul. So
Yeah.
that goes to show you that not only is the word getting out, but people are caring, and they're caring about right here in our neighborhood. So that's what I like to see, is the fact that we have had people reach out to us and say, we would like to help you.
Okay.
Well, and something that I really find that I take a lot of pride in this event is we set it up so that kids are shopping for their jackets. It's not their parents going in and picking it out for them. It's not just kind of grabbing what's near you. We lay it out so that the youth can go in and decide what they want. They can look at all these coats and decide, that's mine, that's the one I want. And I think that gives the kids more ownership in that.
And then the fact that Santa Claus, they
Mhm.
look forward to getting their picture taken with Santa Claus. But I think the biggest highlight is to know that after the child shops, they're able to go get a meal
Yeah.
provided by Solo, the Cookie Cart, Kemp's. These three organizations make sure that the child has something to eat after they go and shop.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask for the date, time, and place again for that, just in case someone tuned in
It
just
is
now.
December 7th, which is a Saturday, from noon to 3 at Farview Park. We are looking for volunteers as well. If you would like to volunteer, please call the office at 612-529-6033, or you can just show up and let us know you would like to volunteer for the day. Like I said, last year, we got over 300, this year, 500. So that goes to show you, we had 300 kids come
Mhm.
through Farview Park.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do you get a coat, but you also get a hat and you get gloves
And you
And
get a
a
meal.
meal.
and a meal.
Yep.
Switching gears, a lot is being discussed right now about the new Upper Harbor terminal development. For those who don't know, Upper Harbor Terminal is on the east side of 94 and abuts the Mississippi River.
Mhm.
Used to be warehouse and like river barge traffic, and now the city of Minneapolis owns this owns this property in North Minneapolis. It's very coveted area, and there's proposal for a new 10,000 seat amphitheater with commercial and residential there.
Yeah.
And so what is Hawthorne, because that's technically would be.
So that's really McKinley,
Okay.
Camden, McKinley area, but it butts right up against us. So if people are familiar with the GAF shingle factory, that's actually kind of the border. So the city tried to buy out GAF to extend that all the way to Lowry, but they don't feel like moving or selling. And that's a whole nother issue. But that's essentially where it is. For Hawthorne, it doesn't matter, it's not in our community, we still care. Because it's the broader community, right? We are especially paying attention to it because once that's developed, Hawthorne really becomes the last piece of undeveloped piece of non-parkland left on the Mississippi River. And so we're looking at that to say, well, what's going to happen to our land, especially the fact that when property comes up for sale right now, the Parks Board is buying it. So there are actually warehouses on the river in Hawthorne that are vacant that the Park Board owns specifically to hold on to as they accrue more property to build more parkland. But as we know, with that is going to come development. And just like the Upper Harbor, where we want to make sure there's affordable development going in, affordable housing, and specifically, people ask, what's affordable housing? Well, affordable housing in one area of the city is completely different than another area of the city. When people talk about AMI, which is area median income, people have to understand that's not the area median income of North Minneapolis. That's area median income for essentially all of Hennepin County and maybe a little larger. That's a lot of different people and a lot of different incomes. We want to make sure that when housing is getting built, especially in that area, it's focused on our people, on our community. And we right now in Hawthorne, this is a big initiative of the 2020 plan for the Housing Committee. So again, if you want to have a say in this, join our Housing Committee. We are focused on that area. We need a plan so that when a developer comes to Hawthorne and says, we want to build and make this area nicer, we can say, okay, but what's actually under that? When we peel that back, what's under that? What are you providing for the community that lives here now? And Upper Harbor is, honestly, we're at a point right now where it feels like that's been dragging on. There are going to be shovels in the ground in 2021. That's a year from
That's a
now.
year.
we need to make sure that we are prepared for that and what comes from that afterwards. And that's what our housing committee is going to be focused on in 2020, is making known our intentions for that land and our community's intentions, not an outside developer or even the city. We've worked very hard to build a relationship with the city, with CPED in particular. They understand what we want in our neighborhood, and understand that we're not just desperate for anything. We want what's right for the community. Upper Harbor is an example of something that kind of got put on the community.
Right.
And now it's all of a sudden all these different groups working to redesign it, and it's a mess. And we don't want to see that in Hawthorne.
Right. And it's kind of a double-edged sword when you're talking about this development, because you don't want to stand in the way of progress, but at the same time, progress at what cost? I mean, I'm
Correct.
a homeowner in North
Yep.
Minneapolis, and so I can look at it in one aspect of my property value or potential property value,
Yep.
but in the other aspect that I want to look at is the gentrification of North Minneapolis.
Yes.
Well, and the north side deserves nice things without being gentrified.
Right.
Exactly.
And we
Right.
need to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So when people have concerns about that, are these issues that come up at the meetings?
Absolutely. We have really strong debates. I'm really happy that our housing committee isn't a meeting where people come and yell at each other, but they're open debates, they're open discussions. Because again, Hawthorne's a diverse group of people, and with that comes a diverse group of ideas, and that's why we have to come up with a plan. That's why we have to have a consensus. So we really invite people to be a part of that. But the main concerns for us are developers coming in and buying cheap land and then building something that's for people coming into the community, not for people who are here now.
Right.
And we are doing everything we can to make sure that does not happen.
Well, we appreciate that. Once again, my name's Harry Colbert. I'm the managing editor with Insight News. We're here with Diana Hawkins, executive director of the Hawthorne Neighborhood Council, and Andrew Barnhoff, who is the housing administrator for Hawthorne Neighborhood Council. And how long have you been with a resident of Hawthorne?
Oh, I've been in Minnesota for almost 30 years now, and I have lived in Hawthorne almost all of those 30 years, except for about maybe 5. And I started at Hawthorne Council. That was my volunteer work. And so I have a real passion for this council, because to come there as a volunteer and then to come back as staff, it's a big difference. And the things that, as a volunteer, what I did for Hawthorne up until now, it's a big plus, because, that goes to show that I'm dedicated to Hawthorne neighborhood community.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not a resident of Hawthorne. I live in the Bryant neighborhood, but I've been with Hawthorne for just over 3 years now. I think, is that correct?
Correct.
Time flies. But actually, and I've known Diana, it was funny, we knew each other when I was an intern for Councilmember Elizabeth Glidden. We actually worked together for a little bit. So it's amazing how that comes back together. But yeah, I live in the Bryant neighborhood, but I love working for this community. It's something that I'm very passionate about.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and the passion comes through from both of you, so we appreciate that. And we appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you're watching this on our Facebook page, the Insight News, or Al McFarlane's Facebook page, feel free to share. Even though it's live now, you can watch later. That's the beauty of this whole setup. So we appreciate all the eyes and ears that have tuned in. Later on, 6 o'clock this evening, I'll be on Lissa Jones' KMOJ show, Urban Agenda. So if you get a chance, tune in there. We'll be talking about the importance and role of the Black press. We appreciate you tuning in for this. At the open, we had the music of Liz Gray. She's a Minnesota artist who's now residing in Omaha, Nebraska, and the song is called Free Exchange, and that's what we like to think of this as, is a very free exchange of ideas, and so we appreciate all of that. Again, I'm Harry Colbert Jr., and this has been the Front Room Sessions from the Marcus Garvey House. Thank you for tuning in.